Let's start with that $1,000,000 question. Is God happy with me? Super interesting question. And I bet you any money that a really high percentage of whoever's watching this video probably cringed at the question. It's like, ugh, is God happy with me? Others are like, next video, let's swipe past this one. Others are going to be like, who asks a question like that? As if that's even possible for God to be happy with me. Well, there's something really interesting to this question. And it's because a lot of times we have the image of God as like being a 5-year-old who they're like, if you don't share with your brother, God's not going to be real happy with you. So we feel like God is this person who's just there making sure I do things right or wrong, which really actually has nothing to do with who he actually is. There's a story a parable that Jesus told his disciples about a man who I was just going to say it in Spanish, who sembró, a man who sowed a seed in the earth. Day comes, night comes, and that seed grew without him understanding or knowing how. That's what our life is like. And if you want to find out, is God happy with me? God just wants you to grow. He wants you to grow to your greatest capacity. He wants you to be the best version of yourself. He wants you to be full of happiness. He wants you close to him. And he wants you close to him, not because he's this big evil guy who has you locked up in a tower being like, here you are, you're going to be with me, and I'm going to make you do everything I want you to do. No, it's because it's as if we're like in this huge garden where he's the gardener and he's like, you're my prized plant, and I want to help you to be the most beautiful, biggest thing you can. That's why he wants us close to him. So is God happy with me? Well, let's look at our lives. Is God happy with me? How would I know that? Are you growing? Because that plant grew without him knowing, without that guy knowing how it happened. He just grew. Is there an area in your life where you're growing? You're doing well at school. You're doing well at work. You feel like your prayer life is going better. And you're like, well, yeah, Kelly, but okay, work, but I've put in a ton of hours. Okay, great. I get it, and I hear what you're saying. But here's another story, which you're probably all totally familiar with, that Jesus told. When he talks about the guys with the parables, with the talents. So he gives one guy 1 talent. He gives another guy 5 talents. He gives another one 10 talents. Comes back after a little while. And some of them made their talents grow a ton, and other ones had them, it just like he hid it so that he wouldn't lose what he had. So what's the difference there between each one? The difference is what they did with what they were given. But everything they were given was given to them by him. So if you're growing, if you're doing well at school, you didn't give yourself your brains. You're helping to develop your brains, but that gift came from someone else. You're doing well at work and you're a great director of whatever project. Well, you didn't give yourself that capacity. You've developed it more. You've helped me to grow. You've collaborated with that capacity. But there's people who are super good at organizing and other people who are really good at dealing with other people. You don't choose which one you're good at. You can help develop it. So if there's areas in your life when you're growing, you can totally be assured that God's happy with you for that. You could also come across things when you're like, oh, this isn't working, and I'm fighting more and more with my brothers and sisters, or things are not working out in my family, or I realize that I'm just spending way too much time watching TV, and I'm not like doing anything productive with my life. Okay, so what does a plant do when they realize that it's getting too much sun? Well, if I have my plant, I go and I move it to a place where it can grow more. So there might also be areas in your life where you're like, oh, so this plant's not growing, that's for sure. So what do? I get all down on myself and be like, oh, nothing to do, we're just going to die. No, you do something to help that plant to live. And you put it in the conditions where you know that plant's going to grow. That's what God wants for us. He wants us to grow. He wants us to be beautiful. He wants us to be full. He wants us to live in plenitude. So if you have any area in your life where you see that you're growing, God's probably pretty happy with you. He's probably like thrilled. And if you're starting to get yellow leaves or whatever like that, doesn't mean he's not happy with you. I don't walk out to my plant and be like, oh my gosh, plant, you got all yellow? No, then I'm like, oh, we need to fix this problem. Okay, so what can we do now? So when you're done watching this video, I hope you take a few minutes and just say, okay, am I growing? Because that man sowed the seed and that plant grew without him knowing how. So I might not even know exactly how I'm growing so much in one area of my life, or even if it's just a little bit, but it's still growing. And it's not that it exactly matters if I'm able to know how or why. Just as long as I can recognize it, I can know that I'm probably on the right track. And if I can recognize the areas in my life where my plant's not totally getting where it needs to go, then it's a good moment to look at my life and be like, hey, so gardener, what could we do to kind of work things out better here? What corner of the shade or the garden or the sun do I need to go to? Because God, at the end of the day, he's not there just trying to judge us and put things into categories about like, you messed up, so now we're done. No, he's always going to be there, and he's always going to be giving another chance. He's going to keep watering. He's going to keep looking for you. That's who our God is. So is God happy with you? The fact that you exist already means yes. The next question is, if you want to collaborate with him to become the best version of yourself and know that he has dreamed for you to be.